What's up, Steam Deck fans? Steam Deck Tribe, Steam Deck Nation, Steam Deck Universe, Steam Deck World, Steam Deck Legion, what's up? Steam Deck Mob, what's good? And the Steam Deck Squad. Hey, okay, listen to this. Says here, GOG officially ends its Steam Import Connect service after years of inactivity. For a long time, nothing really happened here. This article is on Eurogamer. Leave a link in the description box. It says here, GOG Connect service, which lets users grab a free copy of a game they already own on Steam to add to their GOG library, is officially no more. It says here, launched in 2016, GOG Connect was a neat proposition on paper, allowing users to link their GOG and Steam accounts and then get a duplicate DRM-free version of a game they already purchased on Valve's platform over on GOG. In practice, though, it was all a bit restrictive, with GOG only offering a very limited selection of eligible games, and even those could only be added to a user GOG library within a very strict time frame. For contractual reasons, perhaps unsurprisingly, support for the service slowly dwindled on GOG Connect, has now been inactive. And it says in parentheses, it's not officially dead. Then close parentheses says for years. Anyway, it says here, hint that GOG might finally have pulled the plug on Connect emerged last week when posters on the GOG subreddits noticed the retailer Connect page had quietly vanished from its site, with its previous URL redirecting to its own page. And it says, now, though, in a statement to PC Gamer, GOG has made Connect demise official, confirming the service is no longer supported. As to the why, it's not much of a surprise. For a long time, nothing really happened here. And then it says, it said, so we decide to shut it down. While GOG Connect is no more, GOG Galaxy Client, which takes a different approach to consolidating libraries across different servers, is alive and well. It says this let users connect various storefronts accounts so all owned games are viewable and launched in one place. And got some comments here. How many we got? One person. One person here says, "For me, it's a big deal." It's a big deal. This is a competitive thing. If Steam dominates, the sales gets worse. Absolutely, they have. We could argue that it is a publisher and developer, but you might be surprised how often that is not the case. Steam has to approve the sale, and they have to get their cut. They are basically the only market because so many people will buy from them for a double the price of other storefronts. And then it says, yeah, I was picking up a couple of games at the local store that contains Steam codes, basically a code in a box, and had many telling me they will just get on Steam. Well, the price of the game was $10 at the store, $60 on Steam. Friends did it, but plenty of people online admit that they are willing to pay a lot more on Steam, and Valve knows this is true. Not hating on Valve or the Steam store, just that they know this is the case. Then he says, it is really not a case of saying something like, one would think that Steam whole existence makes it harder for you to breathe or live your life, for crying out loud. And more about that competition. We've seen over and over that when a company totally dominates a market, they get big-headed and it hurts customers. Look, when it comes to storefronts, you always want to stay competitive, maintain your edge and your tempo in this business. Very competitive, and the storefronts, it's very tight, so you want to keep a lot of games, coming in your store, to keep it alive and well. And this market is very competitive, so you always want to maintain your competitive edge in this market. You can't fall asleep at the wheel, so to speak, when it comes to these game storefronts. And to me, once Microsoft announced Game Pass, I personally knew that the storefronts seen in video games was going to get really competitive. So, it will behoove you, if you're a storefront manager, to like put as much games as you can in your store to keep your base, and then that way you can survive this market. So, and then keep moving. But with GOG, it seems like you didn't, that wasn't the case. So at least we still got Steam. We got the Epic Store. We got Steam, Epic Store. We got Ubisoft. Still got EA. All those storefronts that you could think of, But this market is very competitive, so you always want to keep. It's like you're always doing like maintenance work on your storefronts, just to survive this market. Very competitive. One person here says, really wish GOG had a better market share. DRM free is important, even just on principle. Their older games are usually tweaked and update more than Steam version, and their client is actually pretty good. Now with features, Steam doesn't even have like sorting names. Sadly, Steam just came first, and people like their stuff in one place. That is true. Then one person here says, I find the DRM free community toxic. Then he said, you couldn't say anything positive about Steam on GOG boards. Pretty miserable. Really happy with this shift in focus towards classic games. Again, this is what GOG was really about. Says here, having DRM free versions of games is certainly nice and good for game preservation, but this stance is by default limiting the amount of games you can put on your service, so they were never going to have a huge market share. It's a niche platform. Plus, the GOG Galaxy just doesn't suit what they were trying to achieve. With it, you just installing games such as from any other storefront. The ability to download an installer and keep it forever is hidden behind menus. Then it says, as for Steam, it is definitely not bad and has a lot going for it. Of course, with the Steam Deck now, oh yeah, user interface is good, and for my taste, it's better than GOG. But maybe that's just because I am more used to it. Definitely better than storefront experience than PlayStation Network, which I also use regularly, and it's just very bad in comparison with Steam Deck. I knew that. See, it's a Steam Deck. With Steam Deck, I guess Steam have sealed the deal for many. Even though it's relatively easy to side load a game from any other storefronts, it's still more hassle than just having everything by default in Steam with all the integrations. Yeah, so yeah, with the Steam, Steam is gonna be Epic. The Steam Deck, man, has brought life to Steam. So that brought with Steam and the way it is and the amount of game it has, it's gonna be it's gonna be kind of like difficult to like. It's gonna be a challenge trying to compete with Steam. You have to stay competitive in the storefront market to really, to survive. You always got to have fresh games coming in. So the Steam Deck for Steam really brought life back into PC gaming, and during the pandemic, Steam benefited from it a whole lot because people were buying games. So that made Steam even more stronger. With God now, it's all about like keeping a fluctuation of a steady flow of games coming in, so you can survive. Yeah, this market is very it's very competitive, man. These storefronts, from GOG to Steam, Epic, Game Pass, it's very competitive, man. Very competitive. So you always got to maintain your edge in this storefront market. There's no falling asleep behind the wheel. Maintenance. Maintenance is priority one in all this. When you open a storefront, maintenance is priority one, and you got to keep the ball moving. So you can at least survive, man. Yeah. Steam and Epic Store competes against each other. It's like games go to Epic and then Steam have to wait a couple of weeks before they can get it. So yeah, they compete, but but when it comes to these storefronts, though, it's all about consistency and yeah, and maintenance, man. Always have games coming in, always staying up to date. That's how you survive, Yeah, it kind of makes me think of PlayStation is not that bad. Sony got to stay consistent with it. And that's the problem with PlayStation. Sony has to stay when it comes to their PlayStation Store. They have to stay consistent with new games and new content. Just to stay. To feed that user base that they have. Yeah. Microsoft with Game Pass. Oh yeah. They try to stay competitive as ever. just to keep Game Pass going and afloat and going. So that's the name of the game when it comes to these storefronts. Everybody got something to offer, but the thing is now, okay, how much how much content do you have coming to your storefront to keep that base intact? Yeah, it's competitive, man, but news like this happens in the game industry. It's like losing a studio. Yeah, but the game industry moves on. It's a very competitive market, man. Very, very competitive. As a storefront owner, it's your responsibility, to keep things moving. It's kind of like owning a store in the real world. Owning a store in the real world, you always got to find ways, to keep the customers coming back, man. With new products and new deals and everything, so the same rule that applies in the real world, in the digital storefront world, the same rule applies. So yeah, very competitive, man. Very competitive. Anyway, we'll leave this video with this article. Hope y'all enjoy it. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Or Dark Side. Go. Peace.